Let's take a look at Odell Beckham's left ACL injury. Watch the play here in slow motion. And watch from a different angle here. He plants with his right foot, and then he plants with his left foot, preparing to be stiff-armed and jumping to avoid collision. So now let's look again, and he's running toward the ball carrier, and he's about to be stiff-armed. Now watch his left leg and how his torso is rotated to the right. He's looking toward the right because that's where the opposing player is. And watch his left leg. Big reach. Long reach with almost full knee extension, hips in flexion, but the knee is almost in full extension as he plants on the ground. And then everything falls apart from here. So now let's watch from this angle. He's going to plant right. He's turned to the right. His neck, head, eyes are looking to the right at the opposing player whose left arm is out because he's going to try to stiff arm Odell. So Odell's torso is turned to the right, head and neck and vision is to the right. Now watch the left torso and leg. Big step. He's reaching almost full knee extension. He's dorsiflexed in the ankle and he's about to land on his heel. Boom. He lands on his heel. So issue one, his arms are up. His arms are at about 90 degrees of flexion. Issue two, his torso is rotated to the right, but his hips are pretty much square forward. Issue three, he took that long reach step with his left leg with the knee to almost full extension, the hips in flexion before the ground contact. Issue four, just before ground contact, the foot is pointing forward, his hip is externally rotated, the pelvis is level, the torso's rotated to the right, his head's rotated right, including his vision, and he's preparing for that collision. Issue five, he makes ground contact with the heel of his left foot, and we'll go through stills of this and frame by frame video. Ground contact is made with the heel of the left foot. The hip and the foot have internally rotated under a load. So watch here. Huge load. Look at his foot position. Look at the way his hip is pointed. Look at where his knee is relative to his ankle and his foot. His right hip has dropped. The player is pushing him to the left, so now his torso is being left laterally flexed. All of this under a load. And now he pushes off with his toes in order to jump. So the foot flattens, the ankle then pronates with the knee already inside the foot, leading to a significant valgus knee. His knee falls further into valgus under load as he attempts to plant harder, meaning more load, into the ground in order to jump, using the left foot for the takeoff. As he loads to jump, his pelvis drops on the right, his torso is left laterally flexed as he's being pushed to the left by the opposing player, which makes it even more difficult to bear the total load. His foot rotates inward, the forefoot rotates inward, heel rotating out even more, and his knee falls further into valgus. After all of this, again, he still loads to jump and toes off the left foot, creating even more force. So at what point did he tear the ACL? And there's the jump. So here we have some stills. Odell is preparing to load the left lower limb. So torso to the right, looking to the right, getting loaded up by the opposing player's stiff arm, and he's about to load on the left side with the knee, a long reaching step. He's about to load with the knee almost at complete extension. The toes, the foot is dorsiflexed, and here's the heel. So the foot is pointed straight, the hips are pretty straight, but the torso is rotated to the right. So as he loads, he's already falling, meaning the foot lands on the heel, rotates inward, the knee's already falling into valgus and is already inward of the ankle, and now the player is pushing on Odell. So again, now the foot is flat. We have a bit of ankle pronation under that huge load. The knee is falling inward. The player is pushing hard onto Odell's torso, his chest pushing him to the left. So now we're starting to get some left lateral torso flexion. We fall further inward. The foot rotates inward even more. The knee is really valgus now, and the opposing player is really pushing hard into Odell's torso, pushing him to the left. I feel like, in my opinion, the injury probably occurred between this point and this point. And now we even have more force, because now you can see from this picture, his hip is lower, and now he's trying to jump. So we have even more load. The injury could have occurred at this point as well. We have even more load because now he's trying to take off and jump. The opposing player is really pushing hard. He's really pushing into the ground hard. His foot is still flat. His knee is really buckled in, and his torso is being pushed to the left. So now he's taking off, and look at the way he's taking off onto his left ankle and foot. At this point, the load is quite extreme. And here he's towing off with tremendous amount of force, trying to jump. Here we have a little bit blurry, but some frame by frame. So now Odell is preparing to load on the left heel. Again, torso right, receiving the stiff arm from the other player. Almost loading, and here is heel contact with that knee extended. And now watch the difference between heel contact and foot flat. So again, look at his knee, look at the position and how his foot is facing straight ahead, and the knee is pretty much over the ankle here. But now as he goes from heel strike to foot flat, already we're getting the valgus movement of the knee. The knee is inside the ankle. He's also receiving a harder push from the opposing player onto his torso, pushing him to the left. Watch the next frame, and now the ankle falls inward and starts to rotate. So now the knee is far inside of the left ankle, and the opposing player is pushing really hard on Odell's torso. Again, Odell's torso is rotated right. The next frame, it's even worse. Now we have worsening pronation. The knee is falling further inward. And now Odell is trying to take off with his left foot. So he's trying to create even a greater load. I think at some point from here to here to here is where the injury actually occurred. There's tremendous force on his torso now, pushing him to the left. And now he's trying to take off, so he's creating even a further load with the player pushing him to the left. And now he's pushing off even harder. The injury could have occurred at this point as well, between here and here. And now even worse to this point. This is really bad. This may have been the point also at which the ACL went. And even worse here. Worse here. And now he's trying to jump, create tremendous load. And now his heel is off the ground, and his toe is about to come off the ground at this point. So at what point did the injury occur? We can back it up again and watch the sequence. So let's click through it a little faster. Heel strike, foot flat, more pronation, knee in, harder force, harder force, harder force, harder force. Right here, right here. Oh boy. big force, knee way in, foot really rotated badly, torso being pushed to the left, and now we're trying to take off via the toes. So at what point was the knee injured? Well, I don't know that anybody will really be able to give us the exact answer, but you can see the different forces that are involved. It is most certainly not just about the ankle, the foot, the ankle, the knee. You have to look at the motion that Odell was trying to accomplish, where his thought process was, where his torso, his eyes were. There is a lot going on in these injuries. It's not just about the lower extremities. Unfortunately, it's the ACL that gets injured.